Good evening and welcome to the Town of Auburn Planning Board meeting of Tuesday, January 24th, 2017. Now called to order at approximately 7 p.m. This meeting is being recorded and broadcast live by Local Access Programming. Is anyone in the audience tonight recording tonight's meeting? Seeing none. Please rise and join us in a salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, I'd just like to remind the audience, applicants, town administration, and planning board members, please refrain from asking questions without first being granted consent. The first item on our agenda this evening is... Okay. So procedurally, the first hearing doesn't start until 7:10 p.m. We would wait a couple minutes, but do you want to talk about the decision?
Sure. Yes, we have a decision to sign for 404 Oxford Street North. The applicant submitted updated plans per the peer review letter from January 10th, and I reviewed the information. I believe it was also in your packets. Having read that, I believe the information is satisfactory, and I believe that we can proceed with signing the decision unless anyone saw otherwise while reviewing the information. I do have one recommendation. I added a condition that was not voted at the previous meeting because it had come in from the Board of Health and I mistakenly left it off our last discussion. But that condition, which was agreeable with the applicant as well, was that the trash and recycle bins for all units shall not be stored along Oxford Street North. It shall be picked up within the driveway by an approved trash hauler. Since there wasn't a dumpster proposed for the multifamily dwelling, they had an independent trash hauler for individual toters, recycling, and trash. We want to make sure they weren't lining them up on Oxford Street North. So the applicant was agreeable to that. Board of Health, it was their recommendation. So I would just request that the board make a motion to accept the new condition as presented.
Make a motion. Make that motion.
Okay.
Second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Date it today. While that's circulating, is there anything else on here you want to cover? Conflict of interest?
Yes. In your packets also, there were some conflict of interest and ethics information.
So it was in the e-packet.
They're all
It's in the
the actual
e-packet,
packet?
yeah.
Okay. All right. Did anyone who got the e-packet have a chance to read it?
I do.
That's not
Okay.
the server we took on the computer.
They're both there. There's information on how to take the online certificate, and then there's just an acknowledgement of the new conflict of interest law. So,
I just took it on the computer.
okay, awesome.
Is Jason going to be here tonight or no?
I don't think he is. I think he said he's going to be out of the country.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
The sunshine.
Thank you. So, through the chair, just regarding the acknowledgement of receipt of conflict of interest law, if you did get the e-packet and you'd like to confirm that you received it, you could sign one of these.
Sure.
If not, I will send the hard copies out to you guys at the next packets. Through the chair, the other item is that online ethics certificate that Mr. Brooks had mentioned. Once that is completed and you print out the certificate, please provide it to the town clerk or myself, and I'll make sure that the town clerk
What
gets
was
it also.
last Thursday's date?
19th.
Yes.
Fancy.
Thank you.
Is that approved by town meeting? Okay, so that is 1 and 2. We're good to go.
Announcement. So, it's kind of under additional content, but there's going to be a economic development workshop held at Auburn High School at 6 o'clock this week. That's January 26th. So we had a consultant come on for a grant that we received, and they did a comprehensive statistical review of Auburn's economy, and they're going to present their information at Auburn High School, and folks are welcome to attend and provide feedback or even learn a little bit more about where we're going. The purpose of this is to update the 2006 master plan, the chapter under economic development, and a lot of statistical data needed to be updated. So that will be recorded and rebroadcasted at a later date, but just wanted to make the announcement. That's January 26th from 6 to 8 p.m. at Auburn High School. Main entrance and the presentation room is straight ahead. So.
DVRs. So I don't think the minutes were 110.
Right.
They were the email.
Yeah.
Did you have anything else on 3, 4, 5, or 6?
Sure. Number 5, Mr. Chairman, we require a new vote to accept the minutes from November
Right.
15th because Mrs. Steinhelber did the motion, but she was absent. I just need another vote.
I'll make the motion to accept those minutes.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Oops, no, I'm
Abstain.
not, I'm stabbed.
So 3-0-1.
Yeah, I can't speak.
Thank you.
And then, did everyone receive the minutes by email from Shannon over the?
Yes.
Any comments on the minutes from January 10th, 2017?
No.
No,
Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion to approve.
Okay.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Alright. Okay. Alright, I apologize everyone, we got still a couple more minutes to wait until we formally start the hearing.
3 and 4, 3.
Let's go over those just because they're on the agenda. But item 3 is the Bryn Mawr State subdivision update. It's still under review by the town engineer, so the bond hasn't, there's no real update on that yet. But same with the Drury Square Downtown Initiative. I have a meeting with the town manager this week to go over her comments of the final draft. Once we've pinned that down, we should have copies, I believe, for our next meeting. So that'll be nice as well. And under additional content, Mr. Chairman, I have just some items to, I guess, introduce to the board, but the Board of Selectmen, I mentioned, voted on the billboard proposal last meeting. That's going to be a public hearing scheduled for February 14th, so it'll be on our next agenda. Some additional information that came in from the Attorney General regarding recreational marijuana and its recent come to law, anyways, as of November 8th, I believe. A moratorium was passed in the town of West Bridgewater, Massachusetts. This prohibited the use or sale, the sale of, or distribution of recreational marijuana until June 30th, 2018. We originally thought the moratoriums would only be a year, but this seems to give it a little extra time. So we've already amended their draft, kind of mirrored what they had. We're going to pitch that to the selectmen and hopefully get that on for annual town meeting. So other than that, that's just an update there as well. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
All done.
Any member announcements? Okay.
I apologize. We were supposed to have 2 A&Rs come in for the agenda, but I was out. They did not make the agenda. So that's why I gave it some time.
I think 701, 702, and 703 would be good times.
Yeah, I don't know if I can do that. I was hoping Mr. Faber would be here. He still needs to get sworn in.
Sure.
No, he did.
He did?
He did.
Oh, great. That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Well, if the applicant for Eastland Partners wanted to approach, we could
And set up, perhaps?
set up here and get set up. We could kind of a rolling start. Yeah.
So 2 minutes anyways.
We get 709 over there.
Oh, good.
710. So the 710 application from Eastland Partners for approval of definitive subdivision plan. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Sorry, my voice is a little
Sure.
low.
Before we get going, Matt, do you want to give a quick update, procedural item first?
Sure. Yeah, the applicant has requested I'll make sure I have it. With definitive subdivisions, they have a shelf life in which the application can be heard by the planning board before the board votes. And that term is 135 days. Today's the 124th day of that term. So the applicant if they desire to request an extension of the deadline, which they have done today in writing, 3 o'clock today, for a 60-day extension. So if the board wishes to acknowledge that by way of a vote, to accept the extension request for 60 days, we can continue with the matter. Otherwise, the board would have to vote this evening.
I'll make a motion.
Do you have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure. So I know a few items were received on Friday, which didn't make our packets, so the board hasn't reviewed those. So
Yep.
my suggestion would be, rather than kind of compartmentalizing the conversation, to probably wait to discuss that until we have the final peer review and all that information
That's correct.
in
Yeah.
place.
Just missed it, and then I saw a few things in the engineer's redraft of the submittal while I was away last week. I noticed it yesterday and had him change a few things on the plans that I think Bill Coyle kind of had some recommendations, or possibly he thought might be good ideas, possibly for you guys. Might say you want, a certain. There was the intersection at Albert and Blaker Street, had these kind of funny shapes and kind of travel lanes. He thought it would be a good idea to omit that. So we did do a couple small revisions in this set of plans that we have today. So actually the plans that you just received the other day are already updated again. We've got a road name. Again, there was a couple issues with that Bill I believe had that we have addressed in these plans as well. So we should probably send them back out again and go to the next meeting.
Okay. The only other thing I think to mention is the letter from the attorney that was. Do you want to quick address that, or?
My letter?
We haven't received council response yet.
Okay. That's what I thought. I thought you guys didn't hear from. So I'm
Okay.
fine. There's nothing I can
Okay.
say. I mean, we can discuss it at the
So-
next meeting.
There's a letter on the determination of the road length that we received from their attorney. The town council is still reviewing that, and the most logical way in my mind, and we open up the board conversation, is to just discuss it all at one time once we have all the information back, and then we can have a more substantial conversation with all the information. So, board agrees.
So what exactly are we waiting for?
We're waiting for a work program for a third peer review for this. We're waiting for a response from town council regarding the legal document we got about the length of the road, as we were discussing. Does it need a waiver, does it not need a waiver? And other things we were waiting for, we did receive recently, is a letter from the sewer commission, the water district, and a revised letter from the Board of Health, all stating that 4-unit subdivision they have capable services to provide for those. So in addition to the plans themselves, any letter comments, and the legal response from town council, I believe that's the majority of what we're waiting for.
Okay.
And you did say 4-unit subdivision.
Yes, the 4 single-family homes as proposed.
And you want to come back next meeting,
Yes, we believe
14th
that.
of February?
Yeah, the next continuing to the next meeting would be great. We filed that extension obviously today.
Sure. Yeah, I think
Where does that bring us to? The 69 days from now?
The February 14th meeting with a 60-day extension, we'll still have plenty of time. Probably 3 or 4 more meetings if needed.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, my preference would be to get all the information in, identify the issues, and we can discuss the outstanding issues at that time. Is there,
So I make a motion to continue the hearing?
you're required? So, we open it up for public comment. I guess I'd ask, kind of in that vein, we had a lot of comments on the existing plans as they are right now. There's not a lot of new information, so we'd ask you to keep it to just new issues, and then we'll have an opportunity for more full public comment at the final, or at the next meeting, not necessarily the final. Ma'am? Yep.
Yes, Maria Coker, 14 Blake Street, Auburn, Mass. How many times can they extend? I'm just curious, that's all. I mean, can they extend it and then extend it again and again?
It's a great question, so Matt.
Sure. Through the chair, as long as the applicant is willing to request the extension in writing to the board, and the board's willing to grant it, they can continue to do that.
Okay, thank you.
Ma'am?
Eileen Lazar at 11 Blaker Street. Is it possible to get access to the plans via email, or do we physically have to come here to look at them?
Turn that one to Matt as well.
Sure. Kind of through the chair to the applicant, do you guys have electronic versions of these new plans available? I see them in front of you, so I just...
Yes, these are the
grab
updated
them.
ones
So,
here.
through the chair to Ms. Lassard, once I upload these to the machine, I'd be happy to share them.
Excellent, thank you.
Right. Yes, ma'am.
Candace Smith, 19 Albert Street. As I understand, it's now just 4 lots.
Mhm.
I was just curious through the chair if we could get a status on the 40B and if that's still an option and where they are at in the planning stages with Mass Housing.
Yeah, I mean,
You can ask the
it's up
applicant.
to you if you'd like to address it. I mean, that's not what's in front of us here, so.
Preliminary design stages of it right now, if we're even going that route.
Okay.
Mark Limlin, One Eames Drive. So your 4-unit subdivision, you're still doing the extension over on the 3.2 acres that goes right behind my property now at One Eames Drive for your 4-unit subdivision? Is that correct?
I don't know that I understand the question.
That you're purchasing another 3.2 acres that now abuts the back of my property where we had engineers and surveyors over by Christmas week?
Off of Tinker Hill in the rear
Yes.
parcel? Yes, we're currently in consults and acquiring a piece of land off of Tinker Hill Road from a Prouty. It'll be formally submitted with an A&R probably at the next meeting, so you'll have that in front of you.
Matt?
Through the chair, I've actually seen the draft concept of this A&R plan already. The 3.2 acres is backland. It doesn't seem to have any frontage on Tinker Hill Road
No,
at this time, but it's some of the backland off of 75 Tinker Hill,
I
is
believe
that
so.
correct?
That's correct, yeah.
But the plan as designed, which hasn't been formally submitted yet, but it didn't appear to have frontage on Tinker Hill, and that was one of the questions I had heard right out the gate from someone who was curious about it. So.
That's correct, yeah.
Okay.
But would it back up to your other land existing already now?
It would about a
Make it a bigger
it would-
piece?
It would potentially make
It
it a
would
bigger
be
piece.
contiguous
Yeah,
with it?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay. So that will be reviewed through a A&R process, which is really, as long as it meets the regulation, there's not a lot of review necessarily on the plan.
Right, it's frontage and lot dimensional conformance.
Where's the
Just so
frontage
folks
gonna
know
be?
how
So
that's
I
gonna
thought it said
be.
there was no frontage on Tinker Hill Road.
Right, it will be, as long as it's labeled as a non-buildable lot and has certain other criteria as an A&R plan, we would sign it.
It would be a non-buildable lot at this time, but if they change the roadway or whatever, it could be a buildable lot in the future, correct?
We could discuss
Or
it more
lots.
at the A&R stage,
Yeah.
but it's just formalities, has to be listed as a non-buildable lot, even though it's going to be absolved and combined with the rest of the parcel.
But they could change that.
If it's combined with the rest of the parcel, it all becomes one contiguous lot anyways.
Short answer.
So my suggestion would just be, everybody knows kind of when the next meeting is going to be. Prefer that we have kind of, one, final, or, one additional conversation about it, and with everything at that time, once we have all the information in front of us, so that pieces don't get lost from meeting to meeting. So, so look for that.
I just have one more
Yeah,
question.
sure.
Maria Coker, 14 Blake Street. My thing is, like, you have a certain amount of time that they have, okay, and they extended it. Do they have to have a reason to extend it each time? I'm just saying, what's the point of having a deadline if you can keep extending forever?
Yeah,
I'm just asking.
yeah. I mean, I think everybody.
But it's not a bad question, through the chair. It's, even the town feels that we needed more time to review this. If we were to vote on what we have now, there's not enough information to cast a affirmative or a vote of denial for that matter. Having received a legal letter from an attorney that needs to be responded from town council is one pretty big thing, and not having final engineering reviews on this is another big thing. So if those were solved today, and we had enough information to vote, and the board didn't want to grant the extension, they could vote.
Okay, thank you.
Any board comment? Look for a motion to continue to the February 14th meeting.
Make that motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you. Chad, the extension request you gave me was kind of bold. It was continuance and an extension, so I don't need to sign it.
Okay.
So that'll be 7 o'clock. 7:05. I already have it on 7:05.
Nothing wrong with 7 o'clock.
Yes.
Hopefully it'll, 30-second A&R.
Right next to the Edward Jones.
Matt, this is the plan on AutoCAD. This is true. They didn't have the detention basin on the lot. I caught that, and that's what was sent out.
Awesome.
I caught it, so they redid it.
Perfect. Okay, that's very good.
Thank you.
Did you guys send the grade yet, or should I get one of
Yes,
these?
yes, yep.
Excellent. Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
here, there's a 715 applicant, Star Up Realty LLC, requesting site plan approval under section 3.2.5.7 of the Auburn zoning bylaws for a building trade shop on property located at 3 Jerome Avenue. Would the applicant please approach? See, please, first need a motion to open the hearing.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Great. Welcome. If you introduce yourself and give us a little brief description of what's going on.
Keith Spurlock. I own the property at number 5 Southbridge Street, and most recently acquired, unfortunately, 3 Jerome Ave. I bought 5 Southbridge Street. Currently have about $325,000 into that piece of property. Used to be the old Alex's Auto Electric. I don't know if everybody knows it, but I spruced it up pretty good. I had the 2-family beside me that people walked away from. So for about 3 years, I was putting up with vagrants, rodents, all the rest of the stuff that comes with it. The town did help me out. Caleb came down, the Board of Health, Stevie Anderson from the fire department, and finally I got a hold of the owner and said, listen, you got 90 days to start, get 60% of the work done, or we're gonna have to give you whatever they give them, cease, desist, whatever. I approached the gentleman. I wound up taking a mortgage on 5 Southbridge Street, which was paid off to buy that piece of property. And I had Gary Pike Construction rip the property down. It was just beyond repair. It needed like $300,000 to get 2 floors of rent. It wouldn't have worked. So what I'm looking for now is to put up a metal building on the site of 3 Jerome Ave. It'll be for my warehouse, most 80% of it, 1/2 to put my equipment in. I've had a couple of thefts. I put cameras up, but the horse got out before the cameras went up, so now I want to put up this metal building. HS&T Group has drawn up a site plan, and when I talked to Caleb, he gave me the zoning, but it required 25 parking spaces. And technically, I'm sure the town needs some, but I really don't need any, because just for me to store my stuff, once in a while I go in, maybe make countertops, do some painting on things, and what I was just going to do is use the current curb cut, or there's a sewer easement that the town has to go back to the pumping station. I also have a right of way, but a friend of mine owns the land behind it. I believe you have a letter that was notarized in your paperwork that he is going to deed me an easement to that driveway. I went over it with Steve Anderson. He said, Keith, that the town already owns that easement, so there's no problem for the fire trucks there. He's happy with everything. Everything's perfect with him. And I'm just looking for a waiver for the amount of parking spaces, because I have my son and my son-in-law working for me and 3 vehicles, and that's it. So he classified it as building shop trade, I believe. So technically, I guess somebody could open it as like a BJ's or something, but not Keith. So that's kind of what I'm looking for, and if I could enter it just from that right-of-way, and maybe even, YZ would go over with you, we drew it, Steve actually said, Keith, you'd be better off going in this way, out this way, so the traffic flow won't go right into Jerome Ave, you won't have to worry about clogging up the intersection. Like I said, I have 3 vehicles, 2 of which I take one home, it's my regular vehicle, and
So we put that up here. So the,
sure.
I don't know if anyone's here to see that. Even the cameras.
And my son takes the other one home, so it's just my equipment I've been having to leave outside, and I did have a theft, I reported to the Alvin Police of over $12,000 worth of staging, planks, pump jacks, so that's solely what it's for. So now I can, any questions for me that you have, or I can hand it to YZ to...
So you're welcome to have a seat as well, and we can.
Thank you.
No problem. And I'll think I quickly turn over to Matt, specifically to give any town comment, but also to address the parking issue and just kind of a process for that.
Sure. Okay. So, through the chair, Keith, and I've been out for the last couple of weeks. I apologize. How did you come to request the waiver? Was that an instruction given by somebody, or okay? Did he give you that in writing or anything?
He didn't, he just said it, between him and Steve Anderson, Caleb said he zoned it that because that's what he thought would be the best use for me, and that he had no problem with me applying for a waiver, which I did. I handed everything into Sheila, and
Yeah, we got those, and
Yeah.
I'm looking at them. I just, the way I understand the parking bylaw is that relief from parking regulations is a special permit from the ZBA. I don't think it's a waiver you can ask for from the planning board. It's a zoning bylaw.
We haven't granted parking waivers before?
I mean, depending on how we classify the use is different, but we can't grant a waiver. I'm not saying we can't review the plan based on what it is with the parking it has and consider it to not be retail space that needs parking. We just can't vote on a waiver as a technicality,
Okay.
but it's just something we can't do, I don't think. And that's my understanding of it. I'm not the building inspector.
Yeah.
That's why I was asking if it's
yeah,
in writing.
he did tell me to
that's
apply
different.
for a waiver for the amount of parking spaces, because it can be reduced.
Yeah, I mean, it's right.
And I wouldn't say something he did not say.
I'm not saying.
I know
you
you
would.
know me.
It's just, that's not how I read it. So I hadn't talked to him about it, but perhaps it's something he could put in writing for the board.
So the board could provide relief on that, it just wouldn't be through the waiver process.
That's what I have to understand. It depends on how we're trying to classify this, and if you're considering a building trade shop, or if it's a warehouse for storage, and it's still the same process through site plan.
Well, Matt, I asked you
Yeah.
if we give them the waiver, or we let them have it as such, with whatever parking spaces there are, and he sells it or someone else takes over, we can have it so that they would have to come before us and ask for whatever they want.
Conditions, yes.
We could
I
condition.
believe that's.
So we could allow him to do what he's requesting here without the waiver, but just as the plan shows.
I think that's correct through the chair, and there'd have to be some language in the board's decision based on retail space and customer service area, and based on what's proposed, it sounds like a warehoused area that's not going to have customer service
There's
area.
no office. My office is at 5 Southbridge Street.
Right.
And it's actually where my vehicle's parked, so, technically, like I said, saying it before you, I could just have a driveway that would go up to that overhead door and the end of the story, but, I mean, if there's, and whatever is required, I can't, 25 is just unseeable and undoable.
Sure.
And let me back up 1 second. The building, I actually wouldn't have been able to afford to do the building, but I had a friend who was in the process of purchasing the building. He won't even be around, unfortunately, and he's a good friend when I finish it, if I get to go ahead, because he's very, very ill. So I took over the payments. I paid him I'm going to pay him in full for what he would have paid for the building. He was going to put it on his property at Paxton, and he just can't do it. So,
So it's a package steel building?
yes, yep. So you wouldn't, for someone to put retail in it, they'd have to spend a fortune inside just to make it look like a retail shop. I did talk with the plumbing inspector, Kevin Willett. I said I'd like a bathroom and a little kitchenette area. He said keep that that's perfectly fine, that's code, that's no problem.
So typically, commercial projects to go to a peer review, we had open up to the board to discuss whether they thought that was necessary. In this case, it's pretty minor filing. Matt, I don't know if you have any comments on that.
I don't.
Okay.
Sorry, through the chair, I agree that commercial projects typically do. I wouldn't be opposed to it. I wouldn't be opposed the other way either, so.
Any board comment?
I don't think we have to go before peer review.
No, I don't think so either.
I think we should, however you say we have to grant it, and then condition it, that, whatever we have to put on, that if there's a new owner or the deed changes, then they have to come back before us for whatever use they're gonna have.
Or a leasing.
Is there any audience public comment on this application? Okay. Matt?
Just while through the chair, while the engineer is here,
Yep.
just if you wouldn't mind describing, I see a proposed Coltech
Yeah.
recharge system, if you wouldn't mind.
That's for the roof runoff.
Okay.
So we are required to recharge back into the groundwater. So that Caltech will be revised based on the impervious area that we're going to be adding onto the site. Right now we're adding about like 4,400 square feet of impervious area just from the rooftop alone. But if I could suggest, like, because I was told that this area is already a drainage. They run into like drainage issues a lot of the time over here, and like a lot of times like the water just keeps flowing down all the way over to the end of the street, down the Jerome Ave. So if I may suggest, like, if we could like not have access around like this, instead block it off over here. That way it would reduce the impervious area on site as well. Regarding the access from the fire department to fight the fire and building, he can come in from this side as well, from the corner here, because this is owned by Keith Swaha Realty, so they'll have the right to use it. And you can also come up from this right of way over here, and you can like approach the front of the building from this driveway access over here. So pretty much that there's an access to the site. Eliminating this much pavement will benefit the site a lot. That's what I believe, at least. And I was told by Pete as well that if you look at over here, the contour is like at 99. It's assumed datum. So it's a flat area, and there's a pond over here. Just by looking at the grade, like, you can see that there's a pond over here. So what he wants to do is like he wants to maximize the green area on site and minimize the impervious area. So instead of making a roundabout driveway, cut it out over here, one access going in and go out.
So I think the board can really only review plans that you put in front of us. So if you want to put a plan together to that effect, I think you could
Yeah,
do
like,
that and come back, or we could take a look at what you kind of presented to us tonight as might be kind of a compromise plan.
That's my, that's what I think. It all depends on the applicant and what he wants to do with it. So that's just my suggestion.
Yeah, I mean, so you say I'd have to come back to the next meeting and with a revised plan, or?
We can really only look at a plan that you put in front of us, so we can't really approve a plan that we don't have. So
If you were gonna approve that, wanted that the way it was, then we could approve that one. But if he's gonna change that driveway, as you just spoke, then we'd have to have that on the plan.
Then Mr. Pike will take care of me and do a fine job, so I'll just leave it as is, and, if it's gonna get passed, I can only thank you, and I'll put up another nice piece of property.
Matt?
Just through the chair, since you mentioned possibility of not going over peer review, may I recommend that Mr. Sprahawk attend the next DCG meeting next week? This way, and it sounds like you spoke to a lot of town officials already, but this way you get an opportunity to discuss that with them, and I could put it in into a memo as a recommendation to the board for the next meeting. This way, you'll have a lot of, any questions answered at one place with the DCG. It's our development coordinating group, and they'll meet with police, fire, water, sewer, and all them, get a collective memo into to the board in advance of their February 14th meeting. This way, there's really no questions. So, if you wouldn't be opposed to that, I think that's what I would recommend.
No, absolutely, whatever you get.
And then if you just,
I did go to Steve Anderson
Yeah.
and review it with him. He's fine. He put his seal of approval on it.
John?
My question was, if you approve the plan as it is now, and then they decide not to put in that extra L asphalt, wouldn't that just come in as an as-built?
Well, would change the parking from what we would have approved here.
And do the chair, that's,
well, now he's got 2 weeks to decide if he wants to do that or change it when he comes back anyways. And bring that plan with you, whatever, and still meet with the DCG.
that's part of, and through the chair, that's part of my reason for DCG, because I don't know if this traffic circulation is still accommodate a fire truck or not, and if they'd be able to back in and out or whatnot. So I just want Captain Anderson to weigh in on both options and to see if he thinks that closing that off is still amenable to turning around the largest engine we have.
Yeah, I did run that by Steve. That strip that's in the front is he said that either way we can get there because it's going to be grass, it's going to be open, and it's a flat level lot. But whatever's needed, if that's what you suggest, that's fine.
Yeah,
Sounds like it'd
whatever.
be prudent to have you attend the DCG meeting. We can get a formal letter from the town department saying that they're all on board with your plan here. You guys have some time to think about how you want to proceed, and we can take it from there.
Perfect.
You guys agree?
And the decision is still ours.
So, motion to continue?
I'll make that motion.
I asked before.
It's okay, I apologize.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, so
See you.
put this on for 7:10.
7:05.
So we have a 7:05 already.
7:06.
So we got.
Um,
So it'll be on February 14th, but the
Okay.
DCG meets Wednesday next week, and we can have you on that agenda at 10:20 until Wednesday. Does that work for you? Can you be around? It's here in this room Wednesday next week at 10 a.m.
And who's that with?
It's with the development coordinating group. It's a police, fire, water, sewer, engineering. All the
Okay.
town departments meet to just review projects before they're approved.
Okay.
So they'll, if either of you be available to attend that,
Yep.
that'd be great. So it would be 10:20 Wednesday on February 1st, right here.
Oh, February 1st. Okay.
So it's next week. So,
Write that down, Leslie.
all right. I'll also send a follow-up to you as well.
Okay. Yeah, you have my email.
we'll have to see you in a couple weeks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good time.
Okay, so 720 application from Telesite LLC requesting special permit under section 3.2.4.5 of the Auburn bylaws for an existing personal wireless service facility at property located at 404 Washington Street. Execute approach, and in the meantime, ask for a motion to open the hearing.
Make a motion to open the hearing.
I'll second it.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Welcome.
Okay.
Disclosure, special permit, forward detail.
Okay, so special permit application requires a, I'll let Matt give the disclosure.
Sure, it's a supermajority vote. Since only 4 or 5 of us are here, you require a unanimous vote this evening if you look for
Okay.
So if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself and give us a little
Mr.
description.
Chairman, members of the board. My name is James O'Brien. I'm a lawyer at the law firm of Mountain, Dearborn and Whiting in Worcester. And I'm here on behalf of Telesite LLC, a Massachusetts limited liability company that is seeking essentially to obtain a special permit for the property located at 404 Washington Street that presently has a special permit granted to Star Company LLC. In the application, you'll see nothing is changing, nothing physically is changing with the tower, the land around it. In fact, there are no new tenants with the tower, with the exception, I believe, of Verizon. And so we're just seeking to have your permission to grant a special permit as is needed under these circumstances. I mean, I should tell you, originally there was some litigation involving this property with Star Tower and another company, and that's how I was involved in this. And so the case has been settled, and part of the arrangement was that the property or the site would be leased to another entity, and Telesite is that successor. It's a stable company. Attached here is the background information. Essentially, we are putting our handprint on what preceded us, and there's nothing to change. I want to once again thank Mr. Benoit and his assistant Sheila Conroy for the courtesies they extended to me when I came out here. In the early part of my career, I did a lot of permitting work. Don't do quite as much as I used to, and have been before the board here when Mr. Pappas was chairing the Board of Selectmen, but that's a long time ago. So they assisted me with the process, and I'll be happy to answer any questions, but as I said, we're just seeking to have this special permit granted to a different legal entity.
Matt, do you have any
Sure.
counsel?
Through the chair, as Mr. O'Brien has stated, it's the special permit that was granted in, I think it's 2010. The only reason that this is not with the land is because there was a specific condition that says that it was issued to the applicant Star Tower and is not transferable. So any new applicant needs to seek the same special permit. Since there's no changes, et cetera, it's hard to find any reason why this application doesn't work. Part of the reason I believe this took place is because there is a tower removal bond on this from Star Tower that was posted with the treasurer's office in the amount of approximately $19,000. That's when it was taken down, there would be money there for that demolition to take place. And if Star Tower was unavailable to do it, the town could seize it and demolish it themselves. I guess what I'd be wondering is if, through the chair to the applicant, is if the Telesite would be amenable or accommodating to post a similar bond in the same amount, so that our conditions would read to post the same amount, and then we could release the bond of the other Star Tower, that it would be under the right responsibility.
That was 7 years ago. I don't know if it would be the same amount of money. How much was it? $19,000?
Right, and
Because when Star Tower goes and Telesite takes over, with Star Tower going, I'm sure they're gonna want their thing back, because the tower is staying up, it's not coming down, so we'll need a new bond.
sure, and it's kind of through the chair. Another question I have is Star Tower being through the applicant, Star Tower being absolved by Telesite? Is it
Yes, yes.
just a matter of changing the letterhead and the money's still in the same spot?
Well, no, they're two different entities.
Okay.
And we'll be happy to post a new bond. That's not an
In the
issue.
name of Telesite.
Sure, yes, sir. Yeah, the only thing I would ask, and I don't know if you can do this or not, but in light of the fact that it didn't run with the land, and I was a little surprised by that, that's why we're here, but it's been a long road for some of these partners in this transaction, and I don't know, and again, I don't know, if there's any way you could expedite this process so the approval can come through as quickly as possible, because the parties the negotiating is over, everybody's ready to exchange documents and money, and the case has been settled since October, so anything you could do would be appreciated within the...
Sure, Ronnie?
Matt, can you where is it?
Right there,
I think it's this little,
right over the.
it's hard to see, but it's over the building.
And where is that
I
building?
think that's it. This is next to Motorsports International. on
Oh,
Washington
okay, so it's
Street.
down by,
The tower's way down by
Yes.
Mill Street.
down in that hollow there.
You know where it says when you go down Mill Street and it shows you, pass inspection for the trucks?
Yes.
Right behind that.
Where, I forget the guy's name.
It's across from
The
Sierra Electric.
Sierra Electric, right?
Right
Is that
across
what
the
you're
street.
thinking of?
Down where the water goes.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
yeah, because that's been there.
So, is there any objection to the special permit? Oh, actually, why don't we take it kind of piecemeal? Any thoughts, first of all, on the bond component of it?
Well, the other one was 7 years ago. I'm not sure what it would take, we don't wanna have to go getting engineers and everybody else, and I don't know, but can we just say someplace between 25 and 30 or something like that? And with the provision that if it's not you, only the amount that's needed, if we do it, is used and the rest is refunded, is...
Right, I assume that you must have, do you have the bond on record here with your file? I'd suggest that with your permission and chair's permission, if you can send a copy of that to me, I could maybe then turn it over to Telesite and say, this is the bond. There may be language in there that's applicable to the physical structure, what it's covering,
Sure.
and we'll accommodate whatever it is.
So we don't delay this any more than we have to, Matt, is there a way that we can condition an approval with a requirement that bond acceptable to the town engineer be received?
I think
Right.
that
Be established.
that's what I was thinking as well, Mr. Chairman. This reviewed and approved by the building commissioner and the town engineer, the amount agreeable by them. I think that's reasonable, if that makes sense. And I can provide this copy to the applicant and, sorry to the chair, this is more of a question for Mr. Brooks. It's because I feel like inflation probably made this number a little higher now over the past 7 years or so.
Right, and I just wanna make sure, you know, it's gotta protect anything in the fall zone, and that might make a difference, because I'm not sure if any new buildings have gone down in there since 2000. You might know better than me, John, I just never went down there.
Nothing's new down there.
Matt, the other question I have for you is, if we were to approve it as is, does the normal mechanism for, we could review that bond and increase that later as the board?
We can condition it, well,
Right. you
condition the
can
approval.
increase it later, but as far as fall protection, that's insurance. That's got nothing to do with the bond for demolition.
Sure.
So,
Not only that, but this is something that's already built, so it's not like you have building permits to
Right.
to hold accountable.
make
So,
right.
I might suggest we look at, I mean, this is really the situation where there's no change in the site. It's really just kind of a formality for the change of owner. But making sure that the town remains protected in the way they are today. Look for a motion to approve with, after public hearing, it's not public hearing, but look for a motion to approve it with the condition that a bond acceptable to the town engineer is received within, or by the time it's signed, or something like that.
And does the permit then stay again with the new owner and not the land, right?
That is
Same.
another thing we should consider, yes. If you want it to be non-transferable because there's another bond in place, I think that's the reason.
I'm not sure why we did that, but I remember that there was a reason.
I'm guessing it's
all I
what
can
Matt
think of.
said before, where
Bond.
there's really, typically with a bond, you have something to hold over the applicant in that they won't have a building permit
Yep.
condition. In this case, it's that their sale would be conditioned. So without that, it's really just kind of no teeth.
I wasn't involved in that process.
Yeah.
You apparently were, Mr. Brooks. You probably know better than I, but
I remember, I don't remember why, but I know that there was a reason.
it may be new construction, I don't know. But I mean, I'll make a call and we'll get the bond for you
Okay. I think it's reasonable to keep it,
ASAP.
you know,
Yep.
keep everything consistent with the
I'm
way
good
it
with that.
was to date. No surprises, it just kind of is what it is going forward. Matt?
Just to remind the board that even if the board decides to close the hearing tonight, you do have 90 days to sign the decision. So if the applicant can get the bond information in quickly, it's for their own benefit, and the board can sign the decision when it's ready.
I'm good with the town engineer doing whatever they say. I'm in agreement
So-
with. I just want to see that it stays with the Telesite.
Okay.
So I'd quick ask for any public comment, seeing none. Look for likely a motion to close the hearing.
I'll make that motion.
Second. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
And then I'd look for a motion.
Motion to approve with conditions.
Yeah.
Town
The
engineer.
town engineer has to come up with the new bond amount, that the permit stays with the new, with, not with the land,
With the existing
with
owner.
the existing owner, and is there anything else?
Carry over
What-
the conditions from the previous decision.
Carry over the conditions from the previous decision.
That the bond, when do you mean, would stay with the new site lease
Right,
person?
Telesite, yeah.
Telesite.
And the site plan approval would be with this owner.
With
non-transferable,
Telesite as well.
Without going through this process again.
Yep.
So, and that'll clean up.
The language.
Just for the record, I'll read the four conditions.
You might
out.
get to come back again.
Special permit is issued to the applicant, and this will be Telesite LLC, and it's not transferable. One of the other conditions is additional antennas, an increase in the height of the existing tower, or other modifications to the personal wireless service facility will require planning board approval as a modification of the special permit. Should only become effective after it's recorded at the Worcester Registry, and the language about the bond being reviewed by, and I think the demolition should be the building commissioner, but we'll just say for now the town engineer and the building commissioner until I ask them both.
Okay. So we have
So I made
a
that
motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Just so I know, should I check with Mr. Benoit on how much the bond should be tomorrow? Or so, I mean,
I can get you the information as soon as I
Okay,
can.
all right.
I want to make sure this isn't the only copy. So,
no, you don't have.
but I'd like to get the information from the
Yeah.
treasurer directly, so it could be interest accrued on it, so I just
All
want to
right,
check.
whatever, just, I will give you a call tomorrow.
Okay.
And again, thank you for your courtesies tonight. And thank you for Mr. Benoit and Mr. Connery, they're real pros. It was very nice to deal with them. And thank you for helping an old planning board appearance person who doesn't do it anymore.
Thank you, John.
Well,
I appreciate it.
Good night.
Good night.
Okay. So we accomplished all our other goals earlier. So
Yep.
motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay.